Hi everyone. I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some of the miracle stories that are happening right here in our own city, in our own state, every day. My name is Tony Kausha, and the title of our show is Tony's 50,000 Coincidence Miracles. Please note, this show is not about religion, and we're not trying to change anyone's religion, and we're not trying to get you to join any religion. It's just about miracle stories. I don't know of any religion on the planet that doesn't talk about miracles. That's why religions begin, because they have something that's telling them there's really a God. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to just talk about miracles and leave the decisions about all that up to you. So we don't care what religion you are. We just want to talk about miracles. If you are an atheist, I think you'll enjoy the program as well, although I can't guarantee you'll remain an atheist very long after you hear many convincing stories, coincidence kinds of stories about miracles. You can email me your own stories if you wish. We'll try to use all we can on the show. I can't guarantee we will, depending on volume and time, but you're welcome to send your stories on to us, and we will mention them when we can. You can send them to the following email address. But please notice that if we do use your story, we won't mention your name. We'll keep you anonymous. And we suggest that in your story, when you send it to us, don't use your correct name. That way anyone listening will not be able to figure out that it was you that sent the story in. The email address you can send your stories to is very easy to remember. It consists of 2 words and 3 numbers. The first word is Tony, spelled Tony, and the second word is and, spelled A-N-D, and the numbers are 777. So once again, the name is Tony and 777 at AOL.com. Well, let us begin. This is week number 61. Our first coincidence miracle take us back memory-wise to Christmas. I guess we're going to have Christmas a little later this year as our sharing on the radio, but I'm recapping miracles that have happened during my life, so sometimes we even go back a few years. But the first one had to do with, I awoke one morning, I said my morning prayers, asking God to guide me throughout the day. I always ask Him to guide me throughout the day before I put my feet on the floor, before I even get out of bed. I don't want to make a mistake as soon as I get up, so I ask for help before I even stand on the floor. So I asked for help, and then when I stood up, I asked for, while I was getting dressed, I asked, what's the keynote today, Lord? What key thing am I supposed to try to accomplish? And I got inspired He wanted me to post on LinkedIn and Facebook the definition of true, meaningful, positive love. I was married 53 years. My wife has gone to heaven now, but she was a wonderful woman, and I learned certainly a lot about love and marriage, being married to her for 53 years. And we raised 3 wonderful children. And we attended a marriage encounter for about 10 years. We were part of that. So we learned a lot about marriage from a lot of different couples. We got the input from maybe 100 different couples during that 10-year period. So we learned a lot. We practiced a lot. We got better. Our marriage was better each time and good each time that we both tried. And so I could write about it. So I posted some things, and you can find them on Facebook and LinkedIn. The definition, key things in the commentary of the posting was that in a marriage, we're supposed to learn how to love each other in a unique way because we are, devoted and dedicated to each other. You don't stop loving once you get married, and you keep getting better at loving someone the more you know them. So that's the message I was trying to put up. And then how does it make the other person feel? A real test of when you're loving someone is how you're embellishing the other person, because a person who is being loved, who's feeling loved, who's getting love from someone, they feel like, let's say, something like a piece of gold that is being made to look more shiny and more beautiful every day. In other words, every time you love this person, the gold shines brighter. Or maybe they feel like a diamond, and every time they're loved, you buy them flowers, or you say a nice thing, or you help them with some struggle or problem they're having. Let's say they're going to night school and are having trouble with a course, and you help them with that, so you help them get a good grade while your spouse is going to college, night studying something, or while your child is. And so you help them, you embellish them, you make them better, you make them brighter, you make them feel better about themselves, you make them feel like they've accomplished something. So all this positivity that you're sending towards someone when you're loving them, it makes them be a shiny piece of gold or a shiny diamond instead of a dull piece of gold and a dull diamond. You meet many people and they have their head down and they're sad, and people don't really love them. People beat up on them and make bad comments and criticize them, and the difference. So you see somebody who's always criticized, and you see someone who's always encouraged and helped and loved and cared about, and they both look different to you. One looks like a shiny piece of gold, and the other one looks like a dull piece of gold, and we know they are both gold. And they don't even know they're gold because we don't help them to shine enough so they know they are. And so that's what I was doing, was I was explaining in Facebook and LinkedIn that's what happens when you love someone and they reciprocate. When you love someone, in a way, they learn what love is, because by you loving them, they're learning what it is, they're experiencing it. And in the process, when you're married, what happens is you love your spouse, they learn something, and they love you better now, because now they know how to love a little better by the way they felt when you loved them, and then likewise you learn. So when two people love each other every day, they learn more and more how to love better and better. It's like you're tutoring each other. As you're loving each other, you're tutoring each other on how to be a good lover and how to make the other person feel like a shiny piece of gold. So I got that message done, and then when I finished it, I just finished typing the last word. There was a knock on the door, and I went to the front door, I opened the door, and lo and behold, my grandkids had come. This was during the coronavirus Christmas, where we stayed at home. We did not meet like we normally do at Christmas, and they had brought gifts, and they were keeping their distance on the porch, and they were talking to me at a distance through the door, but they brought the gifts. They brought me a lot of joy. I felt very loved, and I thanked them, and I got a tear in my eye because I felt very loved. And my wife has passed away, so I'm living alone, and this was just so wonderful, and I had a tear in my eye. I choked up a little bit, but I felt like a shiny piece of gold as they left. The coincidence miracle, of course, was that God arranged for them to knock on the door precisely and exactly as I finished typing the Facebook and LinkedIn message talking about a shiny piece of gold. Thank you, God. Our next coincidence miracle has to do with the fact that, as you know, before I get out of bed in the morning, before I put my feet on the floor, I ask God to please inspire me and give me ideas throughout the day to keep breaking into my day and guiding me as to things I should do, so I'm walking in harmony with Him and doing what He wants me to do. And so one point during one day, the weather was nice, and I got inspired to stop all the work I was doing. I was swamped and busy with a lot of things. Take a break, go to the park, let's walk and talk. And I walk and talk with God. I get fresh air, I get exercise, and I get to talk to my best friend. So I drove off, and as I was driving off, the first car I saw coming at me had a license plate with 3 letter E's, like E for Edward. There were 3 of them. They're all capital letter E's, 3 of them, and the letter E is the 5th letter of the alphabet, so I saw it as 555, which is the number which stands for grace, which is the presence of God. So the first car I saw coming at me with 3 E's told me that I was going for a walk and talk with God, and He was telling me He's coming at me to join me. We're going to meet there, I guess. So I got there, and as I pulled into the driveway there, a car passed me on the road. So the last car I saw on the road before I went into the driveway of the park, the car coming at me had a license plate number 555. So I saw 3 E's as I left my driveway. I saw 3 5s as I entered the park's driveway, which certainly is a coincidence. They both mean presence of God. And I got to tell you, it lights up my soul when that happens and brings me great joy. And then on the way home, as I left, not precisely at any driveway and not precisely at any stop sign, but as I was driving home, I did see a car coming toward me with the license plate with 3 1s on it, 111. And, you know, the Jews have always had in their scriptures that the Lord is one, the God is one, and that's why we talk about the Trinity. There's one God, 3 persons in one God. So we see God as, the Jews and Christians see God as singular one. There's only one God. There's not many, many gods like the Greeks used to say there were. So 3 1s remind you that God is one and singular and remind you of the Trinity. And then when I got to my home and I pulled into my driveway and I was getting out of my car, guess what? My tachometer that shows the miles driven ended with the number 555. Now, I'll leave it all to your wisdom to figure all this out, but I hope you're noticing the coincidence of God. I tell him in the morning when I wake up, please guide me throughout the day what to do. He told me to take a break, come and talk to him, come have a prayer, walk with him at the park. I see 3 E's at my house. I see 3 5s when I get to the park. And on the way home, I see 3 1s. And when I get into my driveway, get out of my car, the tachometer landed on the numbers 555. I hope you can see the workings of God in all of this, but that's what talking to God does for us. If we keep talking to God, we will notice him constantly throughout the day. Our next coincidence miracle has to do with another posting I made on Facebook and LinkedIn about why we're having 50% divorce rate in the United States. 50% of marriages end in divorce. It's a terrible thing to be happening because people are getting married. They don't know what marriage is really about. They don't know before they get married there's going to have to be give and take. In other words, we should all be told and taught about marriage before we get married. It's the most important thing we do. I mean, if you go to college to learn how to be good at your job as an employee, certainly you should go to college to learn how to be a good spouse. And the college for that should be your family. As you're growing up, your family should teach you how to be a good spouse. But that's where it's all falling apart. The current parents don't know what it means, and their children aren't learning what it means, and it's getting worse every year. So it's 50% now, and it's getting worse. So I was inspired to post something to try to be helpful. And when I got done, I had a coincidence. I got a telephone call from a couple that I know to be a wonderful marriage. They have been benefiting. They have become a wonderful marriage. So this was very coincidental, a coincidence miracle indeed, because I'm writing about the perfect marriage on Facebook, and when I'm finished, as soon as I finish, I get a call from this couple, and what they were asking me to do was to pray earnestly and pray hard because they're taking their son to the emergency room at this moment, and they're very concerned. He's radiating all kinds of problems, and this was after midnight, so they were very concerned, and I said, certainly I will pray for him. And so I hung up, and I did. I went into deep prayer, and after I finished praying, I sent them a text. And I said, I did pray, and I want you to know that I was inspired to ask the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus, to please bless your son in a special way during this important time. And they texted me back the next day and said, we got back home into our driveway, and we noticed the tachometer on our tachometer said the last 4 numbers were 444, which is the number for the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of Jesus, that indicates her holy name, 444. So very coincidental. I prayed to the Blessed Virgin. I told them about it, and when they got home, they saw the tachometer with 3 4s as the last 3 numbers on their tachometer, indicating the Blessed Virgin Mary was indeed with them and blessing their son. God bless you all. I hope you have coincidence miracles all week long. Please ask God what to do all day long, and you will certainly have miracles happening all day long. God bless you all. I'll talk to you next week.